Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on a topic that might sound a little intense, but it's actually the hidden language behind, well, almost all of our modern tech, linear algebra. And don't worry, this isn't going to be some dry math lecture, not at all. We're here to build a visual intuition, a whole new way to see the geometry that powers our world. So let's dive in. Believe it or not, it all comes down to the ideas we're talking about today. That perfect movie recommendation that pops up, the way a character in a video game navigates the world, even how your phone recognizes your face, all of it is built on the bedrock of linear algebra. It's the secret sauce, and today we're going to figure out the recipe. All right, so what is this stuff, really? Well, the very first step is to stop thinking about it as just a bunch of numbers on a page. You know, a good way to think about it is this. If you think of calculus as the math of change over time, like the speed of a falling apple, then linear algebra is the math of structure and geometry. It's not so much about how fast things are changing, but about where they are, which way they're pointing, and all the cool ways you can twist, turn, and stretch them in space. Okay, so to speak this new language, we gotta start with its most basic, fundamental word, the vector. And that's literally it. Just picture an arrow floating in space. It tells you two things, and only two things. Which way is it pointing, and how long is it? It's a perfect little package of instructions. Go this way for this long. Simple as that. And look, this slide breaks it down perfectly. So that vector, v equals 3, 2, it's not just some random point on a graph. Nope, it's a set of instructions. A simple recipe. It says, start here, now take 3 steps to the right, and then 2 steps up. That's it. You've just followed a vector. And once you see it, you start seeing it everywhere. Your GPS uses it, obviously. Direction plus distance. Game developers live by this stuff to move characters around. And in AI, this is where it gets really cool. A vector can represent a person, where each number stands for something like age, income, or movies they've clicked on. It's like a digital fingerprint, but instead of swirls, it's just a list of numbers. A vector. And the cool part is, we can do some really intuitive math with these things. Adding 2 vectors together, that's just like combining 2 trips. Imagine you walk right 2 and up 1, and then from there, you walk right 1 and up 3. What's your total trip? Well, it's right 3 and up 4. And multiplying a vector by a plain old number, what we call a scalar, that just stretches or shrinks the arrow. So 2 times our vector just means you point it in the exact same direction, but make it go twice as far. All right, let's level up. What if we want to compare 2 vectors? How can we know mathematically if they're pointing in roughly the same direction? Well, that's exactly what the dot product is for. Seriously, just think of it as a similarity meter. You feed it 2 vectors, and it spits out a single number that tells you how they relate. If that number is big and positive, they're basically aligned. If the number is 0, bam, they're perfectly perpendicular, making a crisp 90-degree angle. And if it's negative, they're pointing away from each other. It's that simple. And here, this is the big aha moment. That simple idea of measuring similarity is the magic behind so many AI systems. When Netflix says you might like this movie, it's because the vector representing your taste is similar to the vector for that movie. They use something called cosine similarity, and guess what? That's just a fancy version of the dot product that adjusts for how long the vectors are. It's the same core idea powering these huge, complex recommendation engines. Okay, so we have our arrows, our vectors. Now, let's bring in the machines that can bend and warp them all at once. Let's talk matrices. I want you to completely erase the image of a boring grid of numbers from your mind. From now on, a matrix is a transformation machine. You feed a vector into this machine, and it does something to it. It can rotate it, stretch it, flip it, or squash it, and then it spits out a brand new transformed vector. A matrix is all about action. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. It's a simple little assembly line. You pop your vector in one side, the matrix machine does its thing based on the numbers inside it, and out comes a brand new transformed vector on the other side. The matrix is the set of instructions for the transformation. And just like any good machine, you can run different programs on it. These different types of matrices, they're the programs. You've got the identity matrix, which is the do-nothing program. A scaling matrix stretches or squishes everything. A rotation matrix, well, it spins the whole space around. You can even have a projection matrix that flattens things from 3D down to 2D. And here's a fun one for you. If you've ever tinkered with web design, maybe played with some CSS to rotate or scale an image on a page, you know that transform property?
Guess what's happening under the hood? Yep, it's matrix math. The browser is just running a little transformation machine on your web page elements. You've been using this stuff all along.
Okay, so what if you multiply two matrices together? What does that even mean? It just means you're chaining your machines together. You're creating an assembly line. You're saying take a vector, run it through the rotation machine, and then immediately take that output and run it through the scaling machine. But, and this is super important, the order matters. It really, really matters. Rotating then scaling an object gives you a completely different result than scaling it first and then rotating it.
All right, this is it. Let's put all the pieces on the board. The vectors, the dot products, the matrix machines, and see how they come together to power the beast that is modern artificial intelligence. This, right here, this is the whole game in AI and machine learning. Any piece of data you can think of, a customer, a picture, a sentence, it gets turned into a long list of numbers. A vector, the knowledge or the learning of an AI model, it's all stored in these giant grids of numbers, these matrices. So training an AI is really just the process of finding the absolute best numbers to put in those matrices by doing these transformations over and over and over again.
You know, when you strip away all the hype, a single layer in a neural network is just doing this one simple thing. It takes an input vector, multiplies it by a weight matrix, our transformation machine, and then adds another little vector called a bias to give it a little nudge. That's the whole operation. And an entire deep neural network is just that simple step repeated hundreds or thousands of times. And that is why GPUs are the kings of AI. They were built to do this exact kind of math super fast for video games. And it turns out that's exactly what AI needs.
So after all that, what's the big takeaway? It's all about building a new mental model, a new way to see these concepts in your head.
From now on, when you hear these words, I want these images to pop into your head. Vectors aren't just numbers, they're arrows in space. Matrices aren't grids, they are space-warping machines. The dot product isn't a complex formula, it's a simple similarity meter. And matrix multiplication? It's just lining up your transformation machines on an assembly line. You've learned the visual language of geometry for computers.